Hi, my name is Dave, and I'm going to show you this very interesting Childs & Company 4-inch lathe. I believe it's from the 1940s, maybe even a little earlier. Anyway, it's quite an interesting little lathe. Very, very rare. You won't find too many of these around. I happen to have a pretty good set of accessories for it. 4-jaw chuck, a couple of drive plates in the dog, and pretty much everything you'd need. And it is a very functional little lathe, as I'll show you here in a minute. Very usable little lathe. I'm a little surprised there aren't more of these around. It seems to be very useful. For comparison's sake, I thought I would show you this lathe. This is a 4-inch lathe next to this Manson. The Manson is normally a 2-inch lathe or so. Anyway, just to give you a sense of the scale, sometimes you don't really get a good sense of scale with these things. Just to see, this looks like a monster compared to the Manson. Of course, this is a diminutive little thing compared to my South Bend 10K. Anyhow, quite a big difference in size. Okay, I want to show you the unique and interesting way that this belt tightening mechanism works. You can see this is counterweighted like so, and this is hinged, so both of these are hinged. So both of these pulley mountings are hinged, motor mounting and the pulley mounting. You can adjust, I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a nut down here that you can adjust to tighten this one. So let me tighten it down and I'll show you what that does. That way you can tighten this drive belt. Okay, now that one doesn't move. This one still is free to float. I don't think there's any way of adjusting that. You're just, I suppose gravity is supposed to do it for you. Anyway, if you want to adjust the belts, I suppose you might try to run it with this in a fairly loose position and see if you've got enough friction there to do it. I'll try it and see. But then if necessary, you can always tighten it down right there. That has got to be pretty unique. I don't think I've seen that on another lathe quite like that. Let me show you what it looks like when you change speeds. Okay, so here we have, that's low high speed. So I got a high speed on this belt and a low speed here. So it's not the highest speed the lathe will go. It's pretty good though. Now let's change it to a, it's so easy to change that, it's unbelievable, very quick and easy. Okay, so now we're going down to a lower speed. I believe this is going to be the lowest speed the lathe has. Maybe 150 RPM, something like that. Just a wild guess. The reason it's bouncing around so much is nothing really wrong, except this belt is very old and it's got some flat spots on it that were stored for, who knows, 50 years perhaps in one position. Anyway, it's I'm surprised it still works at all. And I wanted to show you this so you can see this just in case the belts break. Now let me see if I can change speeds here. I'll loosen that up. Change speeds on this one. Still kind of complicated. They got this headstock is kind of covered, which is, I guess, good for safety, but it's a pain in the wazoo for trying to change belt speeds. There's a little higher speed there. Alright, now I've tightened that down. You can still change this very easily. That's the second highest speed it has. That's pretty long, pretty good. No idea what speed that is, but it's maybe 1,000 or so, just a wild guess. So that's how that works. This Childs & Company lathe has some really interesting little features. The chuck here is a little bit unusual. You have to use a Tommy bar to tighten it down. It does have a couple of flats back there, so you could tighten it pretty good if you wanted to. The 4-jaw chuck seems to be, I don't know, pretty straightforward, fairly commonplace. The threads on this thing are 1/2 20, so it's a very common thread. You could buy lots of new things for it if you wanted to. Here's a little mounting plate, and here's a drive plate for it. Spare jaws for the 3-jaw chuck. Let me show you how it works. First of all, it's got a fairly standard, everything is pretty standard operation here, for the most part. This seems to be very nice and tight. It's got a nice, tight locking device here. Very, very efficient, very nice and useful. Here's the feed. Here's the cross feed. One of the things that's unusual about this lathe is this is really short. This only goes 1.5 inches, 2 inches before it falls off the threads. I don't know why. I guess they couldn't afford longer bolts. I have no idea why. Anyway, that's as far as it goes. That's as much travel as you've got here. Look at this really strange cross slide. Really wide, kind of bizarre looking. But it does seem to work pretty well. It does have, I'm not sure if you can see it on the video, but it has micrometer markings there. Again, very tiny, hard, probably have a hard time reading it. But I tried adjusting the gibs and it works pretty well. It's, you know, it's in pretty good shape, pretty tight. Okay, so let me try. I guess I'll try cutting something. I'll demonstrate taking a cut here. Alright, let's try this. Take a little cut or two here. I've got it at a fairly slow speed. See, it's making nice little chips. I don't think I'd have any problem running faster. So let's try it. I'm just going to change it with this motor belt. Motor's getting a little hot. Now let's try this. The vibration you hear is just the belt bouncing around a little because it's got a flat on it. Well, it's producing nice chips. I like this lathe because it's bigger than the little Mint and it feels closer to my South Bend, so it's, I guess I'm more used to taking, you know, bigger cuts, deeper cuts. This thing will really take some metal off pretty fast if you want to. Look at that sucker go. Not bad at all. Yeah, I like this lathe just fine. Yeah, nice, very nice. I hope you've enjoyed my tour of this very, very interesting Childs & Company 4-inch lathe. Thank you.